I was just busking on the street with two drummers today. It was pretty fun. And then I was like, guys, I gotta go. I'm meeting this famous saxophone player online.
Wait, say it again?
I said, guys, I have to go. I'm meeting this famous saxophone player.
Oh, not too famous.
You're modest. That's great to have you here, man. I'm really, really grateful. So thanks so much for meeting me.
Yeah, it's great to meet you. I've looked at you playing, and it's pretty nice. How you liking that new mouthpiece you put up on Facebook there?
Yeah, it's SYOS. Michael Brecker sounding mouthpiece.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty cool using it. It'll take a while to get used to it, but
yeah.
You know yourself. You know, normally I use like shit mouthpieces, like ones that like you would get like I don't even know one you would get for $30.
Yeah.
I just I liked doing that, trying to get used to really crap mouthpieces. If Bird could play on a terrible saxophone, then I should be allowed to. You know, that was the kind of.
If you have a terrible saxophone, you should have a terrible mouthpiece. Is that the idea?
Yeah, well, my saxophone is Yanigazawa, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, what do you use?
I got a Mark 6.
Mark 6, awesome. I'd love to get one of those. I probably will eventually.
I'm old enough to have not paid much money for my Mark 6. So.
Right. Wow. When did you get it?
I got this one in I think it was 1987 for $1,400.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's what they're going for. It wasn't a deal. That's what they were going for back then. Can move over here.
So
anyway,
I seen that you have well, just for everyone that's watching, Alan is a famous free jazz saxophone player. Would that be fair to say?
I guess if you want to label something, it's cool. The labels are kind of tough.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, my upbringing. What I've been always known for is free jazz. And if we're going to use labels, I would still consider myself that. But some people have told me, hey, man, you're playing with tonalities, you're playing with rhythm, you've got compositions. That's not free jazz.
Right. You've had people say that to you. Wow.
I have had people say that to me, and I said, I don't care, and they call it what you want,
Yeah. Call it anything.
Right.
Rolling Stone said that Alan, the world, what was it? I'm paraphrasing here, but it was basically saying the world needs a meditative focus like you in this day and age. It was something like that, it said. Which is awesome. I was listening to a lot of your stuff over the week as well. I love listening to new sax players and checking out stuff. So I love your alto playing, man. It's brilliant.
Thank you. I have not had. You sent to me yesterday and last night. I did not get a chance to listen to your album.
Oh yeah, in your own time.
I wanted to have it done before we talked, but I will listen to it tonight.
Oh yeah, you might.
I'll give you my review.
Yeah, you might enjoy it. If you like it. Yeah. Send me on a little message and I'll quote you if that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I put in a lot of work into that album. It was I was in a particular mindset at the time. I wasn't in the best place in my life, but I just put all that energy into that, and it came out pretty cool. So, it was recorded in New York. I think it was Hudson Valley is the name of the place. Would you know that?
Is it up in upstate, north of the city?
Yeah, for sure.
I recorded The Fire Still Burns up there, and probably not the same studio, but it was in Hudson, New York.
Cool. Okay. What album was that?
The Fire Still Burns, the one previous to the current one. Yeah. It was kind of cool. We did it at the band The National. They own a studio up there, and my producer's friends with them, works with them a lot. So it kind of worked out to use their studio. It was really cool.
And I was wondering, sorry, my computer made a sound there. I was wondering, you have a gig coming up soon, that's going to reflect the latest album.
Yeah, well, we have playing in Chicago in November.
Awesome.
At Constellation. And we'll do 2 sets. So I think I'll do 1 set of the Fire Still Burns, the previous album, 1 set of so.
Amazing. Are you excited for it?
Oh yeah, always excited to play.
Yeah. I think on Spotify you were like the main pitcher for free jazz at one stage. In the free jazz playlist, I think it was your Foe was the main pitcher, which was really cool. Like,
what do you mean the main pitcher?
Like on Spotify, when you go to different playlists and different areas, I went to free jazz before, and it was a picture of you.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was you. You were the one that represented it, which was really cool. Like,
that's nice. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was you. You were in a.
Was that recently?
It was when I checked that. It was about a year ago, maybe. I think it was about a year ago. I didn't even know who you were then, but I was like, he looks cool. You looked very cool in it. You had I don't know, it's just the way you seem to come across. You're very creative and deep. Would that be fair to say?
I would have trouble saying it myself, but since you said it, I would agree.
Okay, yeah. No, that's fine. It's cool, man. It's really cool. And you're from Brooklyn, right?
I was born in Brooklyn, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've got family there, so whenever I'm in New York City, I can stay in Brooklyn as long as I want.
Wow, okay. That's awesome. I love Brooklyn. It was probably my favorite place to go in New York.
Yeah, weird. And you go to New York now, and sometimes I go there, might be there for a month or something. And I wouldn't have twice, Everything's in Brooklyn.
And do you do much gigs in Brooklyn?
No, I usually go to do a gig, but it's, if I was living there, I guess I would do more there, but I don't live there right now, so when I get something, I actually travel to it. So, I did one in the National Sawdust in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg. It was not long ago. That was in June. Yeah, there was a sort of like the album release concert, sort of.
Cool. Could you elaborate a little more on that? I'm interested.
Well, let's see. It was nice to see. We had Cooper Moore do solo piano before we played, which of course is beautiful. And it's a good band. I had great trumpet player Brandon Woody from Baltimore playing trumpet, and Tim Filiano on bass and Patricia Brenna on vibes, and it was. We played the album, and we had a good crowd, and sold a lot of copies of the album there, so I guess they liked it.
Deadly. Wow, that's always a plus.
It is, yeah.
And when you are improvising, this is one I ask a lot of people when they come onto the show. What would be your philosophy? I feel like I think I know you from your playing, but I don't want to say any more. I want you to what would your philosophy be when it comes to improvisation? It's a deep question, but you can elaborate as much as you want.
Or as little as I want, I guess. I don't know if I've never thought about that question. What is the philosophy when I'm improvising? So it's an interesting question now to think about. It's not like I've thought about it and have answers ready for you.
No, that's
making it up as I go.
That's fine. That's
but
jazz.
I think everything, everything to me, and this is personal, everybody has different, what's most important to them as a musician, but to me, my sound, the sound a tone on the saxophone. That's the first thing. If I don't have that, if I have a bad read or I'm having a bad night, I can't get my embouchures off or something, or I don't, whatever the reason is. If I don't have my sound, it affects my ideas too. It's like, you know, and everything is uncomfortable. So the first thing is making sure, you know, I got to practice every day. And I think I'm not sure of this, you know, but, I mean, I know some musicians, older musicians that don't practice anymore. They just go out and play. They seem to be cool. I need to practice every day because my teeth move around, I think, if I don't. Yeah. And they need to stay in the spot that's conducive for that sound, you know. So it keeps me practicing. It's sort of like if you go away on a vacation, which I never do, but if you do, and, you know, it's a vacation, not bringing the horn or something, it's like the horn's going to talk to you, you know, on the way out the door when you're leaving, saying, "You just wait. You're going away a week. Come back, and you're not bringing me. You'll see what I have in store for you when you get back."
Yeah. No, I think I would be a similar kind of player in that perspective. Like, I have taken breaks from playing the saxophone, and I've came back and I've sounded fine. But then I've taken longer breaks. After that Are You Free album, I took a long break, and when I came back, it's like nothing worked anymore. It's so annoying, like, because you think all the years of practice would hold up, but no, it's not like that.
There's nothing else that you do in life to work these muscles here.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes I do I don't know, did you ever do this exercise? You can see me in the camera, the one where you go like this.
No,
you push. My first sax teacher told me that you push your two lips against each other, and it's supposed to strengthen the embouchure. And then there's another one where you whistle and then smile. So it's like.
I wonder if that'll work if can't whistle. I can't whistle. So
can you not?
With my
it probably still works. It's more a positioning of the mouth thing, but yeah, I don't know. How long would you practice each day?
Well, you know, it's not the same every day. You know, some days I'll have more time than others. You know, but I like to do a minimum of a couple of hours.
Wow! But
some days I can do that, and then I'll have another more time in the evening or something. So I'll do some more. But I look at it. I mean, that a couple of hours, that's nothing really. You know, like I'm thinking about the great musicians have practice, but
yeah.
That's at this point, it's sort of like more upkeep. You know,
Can you?
But to get back to the improvisation question, lots of improvisation. For me, it depends on the situation. You know, like I love to get together with you know, with people, with friends, and you know, like you just do free improv, no composition, just, you know, just free music. You know, that's great. But ultimately, that doesn't completely do it for me. You know, I like that. It's fun. But if I like to write. You know, and if I would do that all the time, I would never need to write. I like to write. So the improvisation is really guided based upon what you wrote and the mood and the where it's going and everything. You know, the melody, harmony, everything.
Cool.
So the tone, the tunes, you know, it's all connected. It's with the improv. You know, I don't know if that makes any sense. But.
No, it does. It sure does. There's so much ways of looking at it, and you've been pretty clear, I think, about it. I think in your playing, when I listen, I like what you do. Now, from what I've listened, I like the way you give motifs. Like there might be a motif, and then you elaborate on that. I really dig that kind of idea. You know,
yeah.
I'm not saying you do that with all your stuff because I haven't heard all your stuff, but from what I've heard, there was cool little lines you were doing, and it just seems to evolve out from it, which is really awesome. Like, Think we lost him.
Sentences.
Sorry, we lost you there, Alan.
Okay. Should I repeat that?
Yeah, please.
I said it's kind of like developing an idea and see what you do with it, rather than just continue with run-on sentences that never come back to what you began to say to begin with, Which I do hear a lot of that in people's improvisations,
Yeah. There's so much ways to go about it. Like, that's what I love about free jazz. It's a world. It's a world of exploration, And who would be your influences?
Interestingly enough, my influences, I'll tell you who they are, but I didn't wind up sounding, the end product didn't wind up sounding much like them, but they got me to wherever I got, here. But my influences got to Barbieri, Don Cherry, of course, John Coltrane, Charlie Parker, and Nick Coleman. I don't think I sound like any of them.
No, you don't.
I would like to sound like some of them.
No, I get you.
I guess not really, because you're trying to find your own voice and everything.
Yeah,
just kidding.
You definitely have your own voice, which is great, because it is so easy to end up trying to be like other people and then ending up like them. And it's like one of those things, it's like that Coldplay song, when you get what you want but not what you need. It's like you're trying to be yourself really, authentically. And
right.
When you can be that and still take away from the greats, isn't that
right.
just a treat,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, like the influences I mentioned, sort of, like Gato influenced my tone. My tone it's on alto, first of all.
Yeah.
Really, it's hard to get that clear Gato sound in alto. It's a different thing. But so again, my tone the end product of my tone does not sound much like Otto, but listening to him got me to where I am, went through different stages to get here. And, very early on, my mom was into music, into jazz. She played the records around the house.
Cool.
So I grew up listening to Coltrane, Coltrane, the intensity, showed me where that could go. And, or Nick Coleman, the writing, and Don Cherry, the writing, the suites that he wrote, that the one tune flowing into the next, like Complete Communion and everything, that was very influential.
Cool.
But I don't sound like that.
And what would you find is your favorite instrument to jam with, to play with? If you had to pick one, would it be drums? Would it be guitar?
It would be bass.
Bass, really?
One. Yeah.
That's cool.
Because bass can have melody, can play chords, can play the harmonies, the walking bass lines, if there is any, and it puts the bottom down for you to play over. I feel insecure without a bass player in the band if I'm doing like drum saxophone duo.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have a trio, just get one more person, get the bass in there.
Yeah, trios would probably be my favourite. I like doing quartets, but there's just something about playing with a drummer and a bass player. It's just, it's such freedom in it,
Yeah, that's nice. And you can really do it. It's totally free, or it doesn't have to be free. You can just play tunes with that too,
And would you do much bebop stuff? I'm curious. Are you full on free jazz, if you want to call it that, or would you experiment with standards and stuff like that as well?
It's interesting. Like when I was in my early developmental years, let's say really early, between like 13 and 18, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Say the question again. I want to think the answer. Say the question again.
Would you find yourself? Would you find yourself? I had to think there. Would you find yourself playing standards? Would you, or are you more Are you more full on free jazz sax player?
Yeah, so I was saying that, when I listened to that music when I was teenager and everything, I was reading all these downbeat articles. It was the 60s and the new music was happening. It was such a vital movement in the 60s, free music. And there was all the arguments about how those guys, they can't play changes. They're not valid. Articles and downbeat arguments. Can Albert Eiler play changes? I was thinking to myself, well, what do I care if he can or not? If I like what he's doing, I like it. If he can't, that's cool too. I still love what he's doing. But for me, it made it so like I guess it instilled in this idea in me, which I don't agree with, but it sort of emotionally instilled it that I had to learn how to play changes in order to be valid playing anything free jazz,
Yeah.
And I worked on that, and I do a bunch of gigs I don't even advertise, little gigs in bars. Like here, I'm doing one tomorrow night, just a guitar duo where we just play standards and everything. And I love doing that. It's not my music, It's nothing I would ever go out and put an album of me doing that on, but it's, I like doing it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I would find like when it comes to standards and stuff like that, I would be more focused on just the free jazz stuff because it feels like freedom. But if I was asked to do a standard gig, it'd be nice to do that now and again as well.
Yeah.
And it keeps you.
When I do them, I don't even invite people to them. Usually, maybe I put something on Facebook the day I don't care if they're playing a little place someplace, like that, like the bar. I'd rather just do it incognito, sort of.
Yeah. It's good practice. Like it keeps the chops going as well. Like and it's great for timing and all this kind of stuff.
Right. And there's something like having playing on changes and everything, and knowing your harmony and all this stuff that goes into that, and certainly, I think it has enriched my free jazz playing. However, at the same time, I think when I listen to myself on some recordings I've got, like when I was 20 or something, or even Valley Research when I was recorded that when I was 23, there was some freedom in there because I didn't know that much else, and there was some freedom in there that comes across that I like, and I think knowing a lot more has improved certain things, but has not improved others,
Yeah.
I always wondered, like there's a quote from Train where he says he dreamed he could play like Albert Eiler.
Really?
And I wonder if and I wonder if what he meant by that was he knew so much, going through Countdown Giant Steps, Fifth House, all those things, and everything that Train did, one of the greatest jazz musicians ever. But he knew so much that maybe he was saying that if he didn't know as much, he will feel freer.
Yeah. No, I get that. I definitely understand that. You can kind of get used to a certain way of playing. When I found when I tried to forget certain things that I knew, my free playing would be more enriched. But it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. I think when I'm playing free, I want to just focus on feel more than on scales and modes. But then again, they just come into my mind, and that's just the way it goes. And
right. It's you're trying to free your mind, and your mind's going to go wherever it wants to go. And if you know that stuff, it's going to go there.
Yeah. You wonder sometimes, do you follow the mind or do you try and ignore it? It's a tricky one.
Yeah. Don't know the answer to that one.
Yeah, maybe we'll figure that out in another 10,000 years or something. And do you have any other gigs coming up recently?
Let's see. Yeah, I'm in Utah, in Salt Lake. I've been wanting to play the album here. For there are good musicians in Utah, believe it or not. But I wondered, there's really no venues here. Like I used to play a bunch of places that all closed since the pandemic and everything. There's not many venues to do something like this, especially for free music in Salt Lake and everything. So this place reached out to me to do kind of a nice little theater. So doing something there at the State Room in Salt Lake City, November 15th.
Cool.
And then I think we got Winter Jazz Festival coming up in New York in January. But things are because, the album has just been out a couple of months now, and things that I think is stirring up a little things. Things are beginning to move a little, so we'll see. Awesome.
And do you have any plans for new records?
I have ideas for them, and I'm in a fortunate situation with my record company that I could go back in and do a new one tomorrow if I really felt pressed to do it. They would support it and everything. But
what's the record company again?
It's called the Control Group. It's run by Nabil Ayers. He's actually my nephew.
Cool.
And he's the president of the Beggars Group, which is in the U.S. version of the Beggars Group, which is like an umbrella for about 6 or 7 indie labels and everything. And then he has his own label too, so he puts my stuff out on his label.
Awesome.
And so I've got, I'm thinking we just released a new tune yesterday. What's Infinite Love, Infinite Tears, the album that came out in May. We recorded that last November, and we recorded 7 tunes, and we couldn't fit the 7th tune on the album without making it weird. Not long enough for a double album, not short, too long for a regular single album. And the sides would have been uneven, like 28 minutes and 20 minutes or something. So we decided to just put out the 6 tunes and release this last tune on its own. So we just did that yesterday.
Cool.
So check it out.
Exciting.
It's on Bandcamp.
Yeah, I'll check that out. That's exciting.
Yeah, but then in a couple of months, we're releasing. We found a cassette tape of a trio that we did in 1977. It was William Hooker's gig, the drummer, at the Jazz Museum. It's no longer there. It was in the West 50s. But anyway, it was myself, William, and David Ware, tenor. So the trio of that, we're releasing that, and that actually the audio was decent, So that. And so I figured that after that, I'd start thinking about maybe doing a new album in the spring, something like that.
Cool.
Give me a little bit more time to write it.
And do you find you go into little phases? Let's say, for example, would you find that when you go into your practice mode, do you find yourself like a monk going in deep into the practice? Or is it more casual? Would you go tunnel vision into it, like?
What's that?
Would you go tunnel vision into it? Would you be very in depth to it?
I think I'm a more, just my personality is more mellow. I just go and practice. I don't think about it.
Yeah, no, that's a good answer. It's probably better answer than it could be, because you're not getting caught up with things. You're just going in and taking action and just actually doing it. I'm terrible for overthinking it, I'd be coming up with all these philosophies and concepts and all sorts of different things, and I try and focus on that for a while. And it's fun, but at times it takes up a bit too much brain power when I could be just practicing technique,
Oh, yeah.
And I was doing I was practicing there earlier with the guys, and I was doing a simple line. It's dead, like it was a pentatonic key, going from the D sharp down, and I was trying to do it fast, kind of like the way Michael Brecker would do it, diddle 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 diddle. But I was fucking it up completely. I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? I can't do this, you know. And that's what I find is good about playing free as well. You really kind of allow yourself to be exposed to what you have to work on.
Yeah. I never thought of it that way, but yeah, yeah.
That's what I find anyway. It's it is.
If you're having trouble doing it fast, just do it slower until you can do it fast.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was just something that was bothering me. I was like, God, I should be able to do this. And then my ego was getting involved. It was like, you should be able to do this. You've played jazz for so long now. It's a simple guitarist line, like a rock guitarist, freebird, diddle 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 diddle. I just couldn't do it. I was messing it up. I didn't know what was happening. But luck keeps me humble some way. Some level of humbleness.
So do you spend much time in New York yourself, or do you see you were there recently, I think?
I'm hoping to go back, but the next time I go to America, I hope to go to Chicago. Just because I heard the free jazz scene is supposed to be awesome there.
It is, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, yeah. I mean, in the Chicago gig, I'm using, it's not paying enough to bring a whole band out there, so you're using Chicago musicians.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Hammond Drake is from there, isn't he?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any musicians you'd recommend if I was to check up some musicians, drummers, let's say, and a bassist that are based in Chicago? Is there anyone you'd recommend?
Well, I'm working with Quinn Kirshner, who's really cool. Have you listened to his music at all?
No, I don't know him at all.
Yeah, Quinn Kirshner. Check him out. You'd like his stuff. Really cool stuff.
Quinn Kirshner.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Well, what does he play?
He drums.
He's a drummer. Cool. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, a great writer too, though. So many drummers are not, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I'll definitely check him out. Yeah, because I'm trying to find like a different band for when I go there, and try and capture the essence of what the Chicago free jazz sound is. You know, I remember seeing this documentary on Chicago free jazz. I forget the name of the documentary. It was really good though, and Hammond Drake was there, and I'd love to hit him up. I tried to add him on Facebook, but I think it was a false profile. I don't think it was him.
Okay.
I'm sure that happens now and again in the jazz world. More common in the pop world, but
yeah. Chicago has this great history, though, you know, of free jazz history going back to the 60s, the AACM and everything, you know.
Right.
And it keeps going.
Could you elaborate a little more on that?
Well, in the 60s, you know, that was like all the, you know, most of the free music stuff was centered in New York, but Chicago had its own scene with, you know, the AACM, Joseph Jarman, you know, Roscoe Mitchell.
ACM is the record company, is it?
What's that?
ACM is the record company.
Oh, that's I know one of the Association for Creative Musicians. I don't know what the first A is.
Yeah.
But it was an organization, a musicians organization, the musicians in Chicago at the time, the 60s, would put on concerts and put out records, and it was a really cool scene.
Wow. I wish I was there. Ireland is so much more quiet, you know.
I'll bet.
Yeah, it's much more quiet, you know. You find a few good musicians that you really want to play with, and then you kind of hang on to each other for dear life. Yeah, there is great musicians here. Like, it's not as vibrant as New York. When I was in New York, like, just checking out Brooklyn was an absolute pleasure. It was eye opener, and to see so many different acts playing, and the people are just so enthusiastic about it as well. You know.
Yeah.
Whereas here it's like alien. You know, people would come in and they were like, "What is going on?" They'd be attracted to it, but they don't know what it is. You know. So it's fun. Yeah. It's funny. Like, not everyone now. Of course, there is people that do know, but you know.
So you're in Dublin?
I'm in Kilkenny, which is about an hour and a half away from Dublin.
Is there a bigger scene in Dublin? I would assume.
Yeah, there would be. Yeah, there's not much of a scene in Kilkenny. There is a bit of a scene in Kilkenny. It would be an arty kind of town, I guess, in ways. It has the arts festival here and different kind of festivals, you know. So, yeah, it would be pretty cool. Like, I love living here. It's a reflective kind of place, you know. It wouldn't be busy like Dublin, but it would have a lot of inspiration here. You know, there's a lot of time to kill.
Yeah.
You know.
That's cool.
So, when you are thinking about your next record, are you reflecting in a certain way where you want it to sound different than your last record, or is it just what comes to mind?
That's what comes to mind, and usually it does sound different because I'm not trying to imitate it.
Yeah,
but, See, the way I write is, at the moment at least, is, you know, I think most of musicians have music going, swirling around their head, you know, kind of almost 24/7, waking hours. Original music too, not humming top 40 stuff. You know?
Yeah.
But, and, you know, with all that music that keeps going through you, some of it sticks, some of it I really like, and that winds up being, well, I write it in my head first, and then I go to a piano if I ever do, and kind of, you know, fine tune it a bit. But if nothing comes that I like, then I have to sit down and try to force it, and I never liked that experience, and it never seems to come out as good as just the organic thoughts that just come through me. So I've got a bunch of thoughts of tunes, that germs, I guess, of ideas that I'm waiting for some more, and when I get some more, I'll organize that into the next album.
Cool. Okay, man. And do you have a potential title for the next album?
No, I have no title yet.
No, it didn't come to you.
Interestingly enough, the title, Infinite Love, Infinite Tears, the latest one, I have a really tough time titling songs. You know, like when I did the recording session for the Fire Still Burns, we went into the studio. It was in 2019, and the tunes are called Number 1, Number 2, Number 3, Number 4. Yeah. I've written them all. I have no titles for any of them, so I had to listen to them and finally come up with titles. But this title, Infinite Love, Infinite Tears, I kind of really like that. I like what it meant, too. So I actually tried to write a tune for it.
Cool. What tune was that?
What's that?
What tune was that?
Oh, this title tune, the title song of the album, Infinite Love, Infinite Tears.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, I see.
I have the title first, just before the
tune. It's cool, man. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss while we're on here? Is there anything that's coming to mind?
I guess an interesting topic could be, what's the future of free music?
Ooh, that is cool. That's a very cool question.
Because I think that once you bust down all the walls and get rid of all the rules, it's harder to find. It can lead to wonderful freedom, but it may lead to a harder time for the music to go forward. Where does it go from? There's no rules to bust through anymore. It was fun breaking them, but now that they're broken, what do we do?
That's a very good point, yeah. I find, for me, I think it would be... maybe incorporating some kind of electronic instruments into it. Part of me doesn't want that. Another part does. There's a battle there between what should be and what shouldn't be. The purist, but concepts as well. I think with concepts you can explore forever.
Yeah. I like to see, my own personal thing is, I'd like to see free music go away from a little bit just just being free music, just getting together and playing, see what happens. I mean, like in the hands of a master, that's wonderful to hear, but there's a lot of people, doing it that are not masters, and it's great that they don't have to practice years and years to learn bebop to do that. Sort of this, if they want to, it brings a certain freshness to the music. But when I look back, like in the free music in its origin, the late 50s into the 60s, and you think of there were so many different voices, and all different from each other. It was not just one. Not like all bebop saxophone players sound like Charlie Parker, but all the free music saxophone players didn't sound like Coltrane or Albert Ayler,
Yeah.
And a lot of that was the composition, they listen to Andrew Hill and, like fire music Archie Shepp. I never heard him write like that after that. There was beautiful compositions on that. And Ornette, of course, and so many different voices going so many offshooting got so many different directions, and the composition seemed to direct the music, and I think we lost some of that.
Yeah,
I think
that's a good point. That is a good point. Maybe we haven't heard enough as well. There's so much out there, and then it's hard to find. For me, anyway, I find it's hard to find like who you really dig. Or someone that's like who you dig. Like I was listening to a lot of Karu Abe. I don't know if you ever listened to him.
No. Say it again.
Karu Abe. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's
no.
I think you would dig him. He's a free jazz sax player from the 70s, but he was from Japan.
Oh.
Yeah, really cool, man. Really, check him out. I'll send you a link.
What's it? How do you spell his first name?
Kaoru.
Okay, now I was thinking of somebody else. I'm not familiar. Yeah, I should check him out.
I'll send you a link. I think you'd dig him. He's ferocious. He's ferocious. He's a lot of overtone sounding stuff. Very aggressive kind of playing. But wow, he's just a treat to listen to. I love listening to him now. You couldn't really have him playing when your family are there in the background. He's intense, like But it's great. It's great. It's really good. Who would you listen to these days? Is there any particular players you'd be listening to?
I like to search new. Talking about saxophone players, there's so many new saxophone players who are so good right now. I mean, talking about like Sarah Hanahan, Manuel Wilkins, Nasir Collier, what's that? Somebody from UK. What's her name? Myra. What's her last name? Jasmine Myra. Right. Just a wonderful, a very classical tone, but beautiful. I like to go to a band camp and listen to tunes here and there, and if I like something, I'll buy it. I'm not just trying to get stuff for free.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
But you can really explore there.
Yeah. No, it's good that you actually appreciate it instead of just stealing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, it's funny, like, there's been better eras for musicians than this one right now. If I had to pick being a jazz musician, the 1940s, 50s, or 60s, or right now, I certainly would pick back then. But that being said, there's so many just individual good players right now. They're just amazing, A pleasure to listen to.
And there's so much education as well, which is great. There's so much education in jazz and free jazz that it's opened up a new world to everyone. that's, you know, if you want to step inside that world, it's there for you, you know.
Yeah. And, yeah, we need to get new audiences, young audiences for the free jazz. I think it's kind of happening.
Yeah, we're in the future now, like, you know, and I find people are more open-minded to it. Like, even playing on the street earlier, you know, with two drummers, people were loving it. Like, you know, people were passing. Now we weren't playing. I was going avant-garde on it. Like, you know, I wasn't playing nice little sweet melodies. I was going pretty mad on it. Like, you know, and people seemed to dig it. Like, you know, so that's a relief.
It's so different that they've heard it in some place or another in their life. It's not completely new, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thanks so much for meeting me, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Yeah, sometime we'll meet in person.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. I'd love to go back to New York soon. So, and next time I go, I'll have a lineup of gigs, and maybe we could do a double bill. You never know.
That'll be fun.
We'll see what happens.
All right, it's great to meet you. Great to talk to you.
Pleasure. And, thank you so much.
Thank you. So we'll stay in touch.
Thanks, Alan.
Bye.
See you, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.